To stand out from a saturated market of crossovers, you really need to have an X factor, something to differentiate you so that you stand out. Now, as we've seen before on the SERES 5, which we reviewed, the California-based Chinese manufactured brand knows a thing or two about standing out. Make a premium car and make it quick. Today we have the SERES 7, a 3-row crossover with captain seats and an effective range of over 1,100 kilometers. Now, it does command quite a hefty price, which begs the question, does it deliver a true luxury experience? Or is it all smoke and mirrors? Find out on this episode of Behind the Wheel. The AutoDeal app can help connect you to dealers nationwide to help you get the best car at the best price. The app can also give you prices of all kinds of cars available in the Philippines, including this SERES 7, which if I whip out the app, it'll tell me that the SERES 7 starts at 3,688,000 Philippine pesos, and this premium model that we have here is 4,298,000 Philippine pesos. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you, that is a hefty amount of money. But if you were to think about the size of this vehicle and the premium cars that are available of this size that are locally available, those prices start at almost double. Think of cars like the Audi Q7 or the BMW X7. Those cars are quite pricey. But going down in price a bit, we can also find similarly sized cars like the CX-90, which is a gasoline inline-6, and the diesel Hyundai Palisade, both at 3,780,000 Philippine pesos. If you're looking for 3-row crossovers, there are a lot of choices. So the comparison tool on AutoDeal.com.ph can help you take the first step in making a choice. Now, let's walk around the SERES 7 and find out what kind of luxuries it has, starting with its exterior. Overall, it has a very smooth and understated look. And I say that even though this car is quite large. I also can't help but draw a comparison to an Audi Q7 when I look at its side profile. If anything stands out, I'd say it's these massive 21s that are wrapped in P0s. It's very maximalist and expensive looking in a way. Resembles the wheels of a Maybach, I'd say. A very, very nice touch. But despite the large wheels, it only stands on a modest 150 millimeters of ground clearance. Another highlight are the doors. Not only are the handles recessed, but then they also come out when you unlock the vehicle. So does too a stepboard. It's a bit excessive though, considering the low ground clearance of the car, but it does make a driver or passenger feel that much more special. Huh?
Nice view, innit?
Oh, shut up, Earl. This is a plug-in hybrid, so one side will have a standard gas cap, and the other houses the Type 2 AC charging port and the CCS2 DC charging port, which in a capable fast charger can get this car from 30 to 80% in just 30 minutes. It's a good look, in my opinion, that this has DC charging capabilities despite it being a PHEV. Open the back. It's a bit on the slow side, not naman 1 to 2 business days, like half a business day. You are looking at 775 liters of space, which is good enough for 3 balikbayan boxes. If you wanted to squish in a 4th, yeah, I think that would be possible. Now, that space also is dependent on how generous the people in the second row are going to be sitting, but you can maximize it to 775 liters. When you put the third row in play, that diminishes your space to 188 liters of cargo capacity, which granted isn't much, but there's still something there. Definitely enough to fit like even a collapsible stroller. That wouldn't be an issue. If you wanted to put, let's say for example, a wheelchair, the third row would probably have to sit quite straight up. Now, there is also one thing that isn't so luxuriously sounding in this car is when you close her up. Maybe it's complaining because of how slow it is, but when you close it, it sounds a little bit brusco. Like a thud to it. I know, I must be nitpicking. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, also, at this price point, I would have expected the third row to fold automatically. or with power, as you've seen with, let's say, for example, the Explorer. You know what I mean? The toys for the third row are your bare basics. You've got cup holders and air vents up on top. That's it. But what's nice is that it's leather all around. I mean, even the armrests are soft leather, which makes me feel really good. Comfort isn't anything spectacular. As you can tell, my legs are quite high up because the seat is quite low. I'd say that these seats are more of a just in case kind of a thing. This is more a luxury vehicle for really the second row. There aren't any more other niceties back here because like you can't control your air and you can't even charge your cell phone or whatnot. If you wanted to, there's a 12-volt socket found all the way at the rear, but really that's about it. So yeah, this is most definitely a just in case kind of a setting. The main event in the interior just might be the second row because you get captain seats here, but one is unlike the other. The seat on the driver's side is power adjustable, ventilated, and has a massage function. It's the one behind the passenger seat that gets more goodies. It can go on full recline zero gravity mode with a leg rest to match. Now, at first I was confused as to why this was the only one with a full recline function. It's because, well, when you do, you don't want to compromise the driver, right? In here, you can already tell that the front passenger, if there is one, isn't going to be very happy because they've got a position that's just, frankly, not even my daughter has a straight posture like that. So yeah, this is the only one that has that kind of function, which is actually very nice. Other toys include air vents found up on top. Beside that are map lights, nice touch. You've got two speakers on each door, a very nice digital panel directly in front of you which controls your air, your temperature, and your massage functions for each seat. Then you've got two Type-C charging points. One is 18 watts, the other one is 66 watts. That's a fast charge. You could charge a laptop with that. So yeah, like I said, it's really the main event back here, and it's a very, very nice place to be with great touches all around the cabin, and not just up on top, but even down below. It feels good to the touch. This really is where you want to be inside this car. It's comfortable, it's plush, and it's an option also. If you think about it, if you want the space of a captain's seat, but you don't want the size of, let's say, for example, a full-size van, this is most definitely a viable option. And it drives pretty well too. That I have to add, which let's get to right now. If for some strange reason you're not a brute and you don't close the door well enough, check this out. Soft close. I love it. Okay, on to the main meat of this program, the driver's seat. You have a 10 plus inch instrument cluster, which is fully colored and very, very bright. I like it, as with the heads up display. You move on to the center, you have a large 15.6 touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which are both wireless. Moving on down, you've got two charging pads here with air vents, okay? Wireless charging pad with air vents, which is a nice touch. Your gear selector here, cup holders in the center, and then a box in the center as well. Now, here's the thing though, I'm not trying to nitpick or anything, but this is the same system or similar system to that of the SERES 5, which you've already reviewed, which means that everything that you need is in there, from your drive modes to your air controls to your audio controls. It's a bit cumbersome to get to. I'm sure there are some shortcuts, but the fact is that they're all there and it's not easily accessible right away. It's a bit it's a bit of a downer. Now, granted, there are short controls for the audio and the airs that you can mess around with your fingers. It's just that you have to go into the system. It's a bit of a downer. And then there's also things like, well, the air vents of this vehicle, which are found all over the place, by the way. But when they oscillate or when you want to point it in a specific direction, you have to go through this menu to be able to do that. It's a little bit cumbersome, But I'll tell you this much. The cabin really, really feels well built. I mean, from the touch points on the dash into the center of it. And I'll reiterate, like I said in the back, all the way down to the bottom. They didn't skimp out on anything. It's leather even down below. It's just It feels like it's decadence really inside this thing, and I love it. And also, what is great about this car is the way also it drives, which we are going to get to right now. But if you please do consider subscribing to our channel, because we create all these videos just for you guys. The SERES 7 is equipped with 323 horses and 654 Newton meters of torque. That comes from not one, but two electric motors, front and rear, making this an all-wheel drive. And if the batteries are not pushing and pulling this car simultaneously through the motors, obviously, there is a 1.5-liter gasoline engine that essentially acts as a generator. And as you'd guessed, it launches itself like nobody's business, because it can go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.8 seconds. That's sports car territory. How does a vehicle this size move as quickly as a sports car? Well, obviously I know the answer to that because it's an electric vehicle, but it just boggles the mind. Believe it or not, even with those figures, the fuel efficiency wasn't so surprising to me. What is surprising is how well behaved this car is around corners. Rarely would you ever think of taking a 3-row crossover and rip a couple of turns and carve a couple of corners. But in this, it's so well behaved. It feels so planted. Granted, yes, the all-wheel drive system is a big help, but really the suspension, it's just really good. And not overly stiff, might I add, because there's this silly little test that Jack and I do somewhere along EDSA where we purposely run one side of the vehicle on sort of like a noisy part of the road. And it was quiet, well behaved, not jarring at all. And yet when you take it around turns, it still sits properly. It's magic! And to add to that, the NVH is actually pretty surprising. Surprising because these are, after all, 21s that we're running on, and it's not dead quiet. It's not a Rolls and it's not a vacuum in space, but my goodness, it's pretty darn good. Now, earlier I did say I could have been nitpicking at the sound of the rear door closing. Granted, but this time I'm not nitpicking when I tell you that the advanced driver assist system inside this car needs a little bit of tweaking, much like the SERES 5. A perfect example is the adaptive cruise. I found that it sort of needs tweaking in the sense that even if there was a car not in front of me, the system would slow itself down on turns. Now that might be a safety issue, or it could be because it's looking at a wall and thinking it's a car. I'm not sure. But Jack also mentioned to me that when he drove this vehicle in traffic using the adaptive cruise, the car came to a complete stop even if the car in front of him was so far away. So it does need a little bit of tweaking in that side. Then there's also the smaller things where you're also quite reliant on the large screen in front of you to do mundane things like open the fuel cap. You gotta go in here. There are a lot of good things about the SERES 7. You've got the fuel efficiency, you've got the acceleration. Those two are polar opposites, but they work in this car. You've got the luxuriousness, the plushness of the interior, the space in the back. The build quality, really, of the car is amazing. But there are also some misses. The question would be, is the car worth 4.2 million Philippine pesos? Now, I get that this will attract a very small number of people, really. It's quite small, I'm thinking. But if those same people are looking towards a SERES 7 because they're looking for luxury, yes, oh yes, they will find it. Does the SERES 7 deliver on its promise of luxury? Oh, most definitely yes. But for those looking for a premium three-row crossover, this might not be exactly in their sights, especially if you're looking at the Europeans, because their budget would be much more from the 4 million Philippine pesos that this thing is asking for. But for those looking for, say for example, an SUV in the form of the CX-90, the Explorer, or even an executive van with captain seats, this does well on several fronts to sway those buyers. It's a niche market, that's for sure. But you know what? It's quick, it's efficient, it's spacious, it's definitely luxurious, and that isn't smoke and mirrors. But don't take my word for it. Download the AutoDeal app, take it out for a test drive. You won't be disappointed.